Welcome to Your Weekly Catalyst, our 5-minute weekly bonus session to help you move toward better than yesterday. Our feature full-length episode goes live first thing every Wednesday, and you may also want to check out our exciting new YouTube coaching channel at youtube.com/coaching channel. We're releasing this episode in the days following the 4th of July, a day celebrated in the United States as a day of freedom. But while we're on this topic of freedom, let's ask ourselves, how do we do about giving ourselves freedom in our non-work activities and pursuits? Now, if you're sitting there thinking, wait, what are you talking about, Cooper? I don't even know what do you mean? Well, here's a one question self-assessment you can utilize to see how you're doing when it comes to this personal freedom front. Listen in on the language you're using when you're not at work, and think about how many times you hear yourself using words or phrases like should, need to, or have to when it comes to non-work or free time activities. As you listen in, reflect on the situation. Sometimes these words, they're pretty accurate. As a parent, spouse, or friend, there are things we should do or need to do because we've committed to doing so and we're following up on our commitments. However, what about the other times? Do these phrases still dominate our internal or sometimes external language? And if so, why? Let's flesh this out a little bit more with an example that's likely relatively common to this audience: exercise, or especially endurance exercise. I hang out with a lot of endurance athletes, and it's not unusual to find ourselves saying things like, I have to do my long run, or whatever workout, tomorrow. And they're usually said with the voice of a martyr, sacrificing all that is to do what must be done. Seriously? Folks, let's remember, endurance athletic pursuits are our hobby. We do them because we love them, right? We're not paid to race. No one is forcing us to do the training. Neither our mortgage nor the future of our family or friends is dependent upon our training and racing. Yes, granted, sometimes there's a little rise and grind that's needed to achieve the goals we're pursuing. So if there's an occasional I've got to, I should, I need to splice into our language, that's understandable. However, if it goes beyond occasional, then it may be time for a reevaluation. I realized a few years ago that nobody cares about my race results except me, and maybe the guy ahead of me and the guy behind me. That's it. So if I'm not loving how I'm spending my free time, and endurance pursuits are part of my free time, then maybe it's time for a reevaluation on how I'm approaching things. But let's not just pick on endurance athletes. The same pattern emerges for individuals pursuing any free time activity. So here's a little strategy you might want to adopt to turn the tide a little bit. First, anytime you catch yourself using one of the above phrases during a free time activity, ask yourself, is this at least a 7 on a 10-point engagement scale? If not, follow up with the question, how can I change it to hit a 7+? Sometimes it's just a mindset. Other times it's a change in the process. And sometimes, if you're seeing this consistently, it might mean it's time to reevaluate what we're pursuing. Maybe a pursuit that started out as a 10 has dwindled down to a 5 over the years, and we didn't even realize it. As a result, maybe a more dramatic change is in order. Did that spark a few thoughts? Thank you so much for joining us on this week's Monday Morning Catalyst. Our feature episode this week features an interview with Yale University neurologist Dr. Dina Kuravia. She specializes in optimal brain function and headaches, and we dig into all kinds of things around those topics. Speaking of headaches, that's also the topic of this week's VidBit, our brief video on the YouTube coaching channel. Our feature video digs into the F5 and how this tool can be a literal game changer, both for coaches and for high performers. We'll link to those below, but you can find them at youtube.com/coaching channel. Thanks again for joining us. Always feel free to reach out to us. The email is results@catalystcoachinginstitute.com, or you can access a multitude of resources at catalystcoachinginstitute.com. This is Dr. Bradford Cooper signing off. I'll look forward to speaking with you later this week on the next episode of the Catalyst Health, Wellness, and Performance Podcast, or over on the new YouTube coaching channel.